September 30th, 2015, Wednesday. Oh, I'm gonna get an earful. I'm gonna get an earful, aren't I? Hey, did you see that thing on Twitter?
Oh yeah, the meme from the Hecky Hobo. A giant Oopa with a smug look on its face, sitting in the Shibuya.
Oh, fucking hell. Hikariwo. Hikariwo? I think that's it.
A giant Oopa with a smug look on its face, sitting in the Shibuya Hikariwo, saying Shibuya sure has changed.
Yeah, that one's really kind of sad. Can we use that for the Culture Festival? Nobody's gonna look at the display without about the history of Shibuya's recovery anyway.
Is it enough just to have the picture though? We need to actually have the stuffed animals or something.
The male student started to search through Shibuya's stores with his smartphone. He must have found something strange because he kept mumbling, "No way." Oh, for the love of... Okay. Ito was recording the newspaper club's project for the festival. A bunch of random footage for the preparations in the cafeteria. Is this really the right time to be all excited over something like that, guys? A body had just been discovered in Donganzaka yesterday, and all these students care about was their stupid jokes. Sorry, my brain just read that first line and it just went, "A body has been discovered!" Look, I can only channel my inner Monokuma for so much before, I literally only just got my voice back. I don't want to be fucking losing it again. Which is clearly why I'm back recording already. The body was found less than 10 minutes away from the school, but they barely even mentioned it. Well, it really hasn't hit the news too much yet, but... The first reports have been on the major communications company website. I was where Ito had seen it. It had been last night. Am I in a... I guess I'm in a talkative mood now. The police said I wasn't. They made the morning news in the morning papers, but that's all had been reported, that a body was found. And there were no details were known. And it was rare for a high school kid to check the TV, news, and papers every day. There was no word from Miyashiro. Ito was really worried about what had happened at the Love Hotel. He had no way of asking about it. Damn it. He took out his phone even though he knew he hadn't gotten any calls. Sure enough, there were no messages. He'd been doing that a lot since yesterday. He couldn't bring himself to make the call. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know what to say to a friend who'd been taken away by the police. The laughing students irritated Ito in a way that he didn't really understand. He'd been planning on videotaping the entire cafeteria today, but instead gave up and left.
You filming? Hope it's going okay.
He went inside the club room and saw Kurisu there. Any word? Kurisu's expression clouded for a moment as she shook her head.
Nothing since then.
I see. Wakui, the club advisor, had told him that Kurisu had taken a change of clothes from Miyashiro to the police station last night. She'd been told that neither Miyashiro nor Inoue were hurt. The police were probably going to let them off with a warning, and if they weren't suffering any after effects from the trauma, they'd be let go in the morning. But school was over. It was almost evening and there was no word from either of them. Ito dropped into his chair. Damn it, the school's so peaceful. Barely anyone's talking about what happened yesterday.
I see.
I mean, sure, there are about 2 murder reports a week in Tokyo. So I know it's not exactly a new thing, but still, Dongenzaka's right next door. It's possible that someone walked by that place on their way to school. Actually, I bet someone does. Maybe it's like he always says, and none of these people ever read the real news.
Do you have any idea how obvious you are?
Kurisu chuckled. Huh?
You're worried about the 2 of them, right?
Ito started to speak, but choked it back. Not really. Aren't you worried, Miss Vice President? Ridiculous, she chuckled.
I'm angry. This whole thing is ridiculous. Serica is one thing, but he ignored my warning and went in anyway. And this is what happened. He's making you do all the filming for the newspaper club, too.
No, I don't really care. It's not that big a deal.
It is. When you're given a job, you need to do it.
Is this it? Kurisu, what's going on with the budgets? Kawahara appeared. He was very out of breath.
Huh? The budgets?
The list of groups that have gone over budget. Accounting says it's not in yet. Kurisu frowned as she realized her mistake.
Sorry, I'll send you an email with the list.
ASAP, okay? Before the teacher goes home. Kawahara ran off before Kurisu had time to answer. And before he was even out of sight, Kurisu had booted up the PC and started to tap at the keys.
What?
No, it's nothing. Which of us is it more obvious? That's what Ito was about to say before he stopped himself. Normally, it was impossible to imagine Kurisu not doing her job. For a while after that, Kurisu focused intently on her work. Ito didn't have much else to do, so he watched her. When he looked carefully, he could see small dark spots under her eyes. She probably hadn't slept. Then Ito realized, for the first time, Kurisu had probably come to the club room to see if either of them had contacted him. With all the preparations that were going on, there was no other reason for her to be here. The Empress of all people, huh? Kurisu pressed down hard on one final key as she finished her task. Oh, you're still here, Hannah! Then suddenly an unpleasant sound filled the room. Hey.
I know.
They looked over and saw that Kazuki was nibbling on dried squid as she played her game, oblivious to everything around her. Ito had seen her come in after Kurisu had started her work. He thought she might say hello, but knowing her, maybe not. He'd also seen her start to play her game. He'd been trying not to bring it up, but that was clearly impossible now. She must have been concentrating pretty hard. Her gaze was constant and steady. Ito sighed. She's always caught up in her own little world, isn't she? Maybe she doesn't care about anyone else.
Of course that's not true. She's just a little stronger willed than most people.
Even so, she's in the same club as them, he started to say, but Kurisu stopped him with a raised hand. She looked down at Kazuki's gaming screen.
Evidently not.
Huh? Kurisu chuckled and took off Kazuki's headphones.
Kazuki, I'm not a big gamer, so correct me if I'm wrong, but... Is there a reason they're continuously flinging fireballs at the side of a house? The fire's spreading really fast.
Concerned. The second emotion I've heard from Kazuki. Kazuki looked back at the screen with a stunned expression on her face. She yanked the headphones out of Kurisu's hands and quickly put them on, then started to pound at the keyboard.
Calm down. And either swallow the squid or spit it out. What you're doing now is bad manners.
Kazuki may or may not have heard her because she struggled with her game for a while. And then... Is this what disgust look like? Is this what disgust looks like? I don't know. It's really hard to tell. It also, I know it says it's squid, but it does just look like she's chewing on grass. She froze like a toy whose batteries had run out. The squid she'd been chewing on fell out of her mouth and landed on the desk. You know when she said spit it out, that's not what she meant. She stared at it for almost 30 seconds as if something impossible had happened. Then she silently stood up and staggered over to the shelf where she kept the electric coffee maker. Her face had turned pale.
Kazuki?
Kazuki? You okay?
Coffee.
You're going to make us coffee? Kazuki nodded in answer to Ito's second question. Started to make coffee with shaking hands. She made Kurisu her usual. Two cubes of sugar. And gave Ito a coffee mixed with milk. Then she made a cup for herself. Black, but didn't drink a drop. Her forehead slammed into the desk with a thud, and she became so quiet it was impossible to tell if she was breathing.
Ne? See?
Kurisu looked to Ito for agreement as she cleaned up Kazuki's squid.
Yeah, so ga?
Wait, really? He took a sip from his coffee, not sure what to think. To him, none of this made any sense. Kurisu didn't say another word as she drank her coffee. Ito looked up at the blank ceiling and decided that this was as good a time as any to ask. It wasn't that it was wrong, but it still felt kind of awkward. Hey.
Nani? What?
Is there a reason he's so obsessed with this case? Kurisu froze. She lowered her gaze as if searching for answers in her coffee cup.
What about you? You seem pretty interested in it yourself.
She seemed to be trying to change the subject. I just like this stuff.
This stuff?
Weird murder cases and stuff. But still, running into a crime scene like you did yesterday was... That was going too far, he continued. Kurisu silently took another sip of her coffee. She seemed to be staring at a single point in the distance, lost in thought. It was clear that while she was seeing things around her, none of them held any meaning to her. Looking at her scared Ito a little. Was it really that big a deal?
別に言いたくなければ
If you don't want to tell me.
そういうわけじゃない。
That's not it.
きっと基本的には
I'm
伊藤君
sure
と同
that
じ。
basically
拓
Takeru's
も好
the
きだ
same
も
as
の
you.
こういうの。
He just likes this stuff.
それに危なっかしい
And
と
he
ころに
always
首
liked
を突
getting
っ込みた
involved
が
in
るのも
things that were
昔
dangerous.
からだし。
I see, Ito said.
小学校からだっけ
You two started living together in elementary school, right?
ええ。正確に
Yeah,
は
that's
被
right.
災して少し経ってからだ
A
か
little
ら
after the earthquake, just to
中
be
学生に上
precise.
がるか上がらないかの
Just
時だ
about
け
the
ど。
time when middle school was supposed to start.
Kurisu and Miyashiro were both what people called earthquake orphans. They had both been in 6th grade when they lost their parents to the earthquake. Since they had no relatives to take them in, they'd been sent to the same group home, the localized small-scale children's welfare facility's Alba dormitory. Kids like them weren't common in Shibuya these days, but they weren't exactly rare either. Miyashiro had been so badly injured during the earthquake that he'd been put into a coma. He was still in that coma when he arrived at the dorms. The head of the dorm was also the head doctor at the Alba clinic downstairs, and so for a while that was where he was kept. Kurisu had taken care of literally all of his needs. There were 4 kids at the facility. Kurisu and Miyashiro were the oldest. Since her birthday was earlier than his, she dubbed herself the oldest of the 4 siblings and volunteered to take care of the other 3. Even then, Miyashiro had a habit of being curious and getting into trouble.
だいたい天の弱だしね。
He's just a little brat, you know.
みんなとは違うって
He says
よ
all
く言
the
ってるでしょ。
He says all the time that he's
そんな
different
こ
from
とは
everyone
ない
else,
のに。
right? Even though that's not true.
She spoke like a parent worried for her child's future.
でも結局あの子
But
は
in the end, he...
お疲れ様。
Hello, everyone.
クルス君も来てたのか。
Didn't think I'd see you here, Kurisu.
先生連絡があったんですか？
Did you hear anything?
The club advisor, Wakui, was quite relaxed as he came into the room. Kurisu quickly stood up and rushed over to him. He nodded and motioned for her to calm down.
ついさっきね。
Yeah, just now.
大丈夫そうでしたか
Is everything okay?
ん？
Huh?
それはもちろん。
Of course.
ほら、伊藤君。
Hey, So,
すぐ
get
に
to the
体
gym
育館に
now.
行きなさい。
Huh?
体育館
Gym?
なんで
Why?
軽音部が今からリハーサルをするって。
The Light Music Club says they're about to do a
いい文化祭の記録になるんじゃ
rehearsal.
ないかな。
Should be good footage for the culture festival. Kurisu's expression froze. And suddenly it changed.
涌井先生連絡って
Mr. Wakui,
それですか？
is that what you heard?
ん？そうだよ。
Yeah?
な
Yeah,
んだ
that's
よ
right.
クルス君、機嫌がいいね。
What's up, Kurisu? You look happy.
Oh,
先生には
I
機
seem
嫌が
happy to
いいよう
see
に
you.
見えますか？
行ってくる
I'm going now. You should come with me.
ちょっと。
Wait. Sensing a gathering storm of violence, Ito pushed Wakui out of the door. I know it's a stock sound, but I still find it fucking hilarious every time Kazuki's head hits the desk. Kazuki had looked up, but now she slammed her head back onto the desk. Now that she was all alone, Kurisu took out her phone and checked it. There was no message, of course. She sighed and looked at the board. That incident yesterday at the Love Hotel. Whether it was murder or suicide, from the way Miyashiro and Onoe had looked when they'd been taken by the police, something had happened. Miyashiro had said that it had something to do with the incident 6 years ago. Now that it had happened 3 times, there was no ignoring it. No, it was too dangerous. She couldn't let him get any more involved than this. She thought back to Ito's question about why Miyashiro was so interested in this case. Kazuki was still lying with her head on the desk. When she turned her head to the side for some reason, she looked like she was enjoying herself. When Kurisu saw that, she suddenly lost her desire to drink the coffee. Apologizing in her mind to Kazuki, she decided to pour it out at the water fountain. She headed to the upstairs water fountain, which was usually less crowded. She found herself looking down at the gaps between the tiles, and the sounds of her footsteps rang in her ears. She could tell that she was walking slower than usual. Essentially, Kurisu was lonely. She remembered what she'd said to Miyashiro when he woke up in the clinic.
I'm
no Kurisu. Call me by my first name. We're family, so it's weird to call each other by our last names, right?
In the end, he
just wants to pretend that he's special.
She knew why, she supposed. The event that had caused him to leave the dorm was still bothering him. November 7th, 2009.
This way! Please, come this way!
I'm telling you, we can get out around the back. How many times do I have to... Save us! Someone! Why won't the phones work? I wanted water. I could still feel the sensation of the dead woman I'd touched when I'd fallen on my hands, and wanted to wash it off. I wanted to wash my face too. The wind from the flames had blown something small into my eye, and it itched badly. I was thirsty too. Serika was on my back and showed no signs of waking up. Damn it. My legs were at their limit, so I forced my way through the crowd and sat down on a tire that had rolled nearby. It smelled like burning rubber. I didn't have the energy to apologize to the people I ran into. And they didn't have the energy left to complain. I slowly brought Serika to rest on my knees and looked around. I saw an orange light. The light of the fire is reflected on many things. It was pretty, I thought, before I realized how inappropriate that was. For some reason, I started to count the bodies on the ground, not knowing if they were alive or dead. But in less than 5 seconds, I'd gotten way over than 10 and realized how futile it was. I stopped. Shibuya Station was utterly destroyed. The 107, only a few minutes away by foot, was ruined as well. 5 whole hours after the earthquake, the chaos had only increased. There were fewer people out walking, but I wasn't sure if that was because they reached safety or simply collapsed from exhaustion. I saw someone carrying his own severed arm in a convenience store bag. I saw people ignore a barefoot woman as she cradled a baby whose head was smashed in. Some had outright given up on sanity and were flinging things into the fire. A group of middle-aged salarymen were dragging a young girl into the darkness. A young man went to join them. This is hell. There was no other way to describe it. This was hell. Serica moaned a little in my lap. I slapped her cheeks to wake her up. Onoe? Onoe? Her face distorted in agony. It was okay. She was breathing. She was okay. We're heading to Yoyogi, okay? You know, the big general hospital. You remember, right? We snuck in there once when we were little. Instead of answering, she just moved her eyebrows a little. I swore and lifted her up onto my back again. She didn't seem to be that badly hurt, but this kept happening. I read on Twitter that the general hospital in front of Yoyogi Station was accepting patients injured in the earthquake. I didn't know if that was true, but I had no choice but to go. Had to be better than the hell that was Shibuya. Don't die. I yelled, unsure if Serica could even hear me, and started walking. I just needed to get to the hospital. Egg fucking excuse me? What was that fucking torture device? That's not normal hospital treatment. That's fucking psych ward. That's where you go when you know you're mentally fucked. Oh good, my caravan. I leapt up. I quickly glanced to the left and right as I tried to calm my racing heart. I saw that I was in my own bed. I felt exhausted. I also felt really thirsty. Maybe it was because I had had that dream again. I searched around until I found the bottle of water by my bedside, took a gulp, then grabbed my phone off my bed to check the time. 12:17 a.m. It's a new day, huh? It was around noon when the police let me go from Shibuya Station with a warning. I'd gone home and gone straight to bed, so I would have been out for more than 12 hours. This was no good. Maybe I'd slept too long, or maybe I hadn't slept long enough, because my head felt like it was filled with lead. No, maybe not. I put my hands up to the thin light that was coming through the window and checked their color. They were the same as always. There was no blood on them. I felt a little like throwing up. I hoped another drink of water would help, but it didn't. Damn it. I thought for a moment, then decided to turn on the room lights. I turned on the laptop. I ran a search for urge to vomit lessons, food, drinks. The internet gave me a page after page of results. I checked a bunch of pages like you're supposed to when you're looking something up. Ginger, huh? Guess I've got that Kakonto that Gen gave me. I looked into the sink until I found the Kakonto powder, then poured it into a cup and added some hot water from the electric kettle. It had a strange smell, unlike anything I was used to. I took a sip. Is this the one that's meant to, like, stop you getting hangovers? In theory? I could tell that my hands were shaking a little as I held the cup. God damn it all. It wasn't the first time I'd seen a body. I checked the phone again and saw that there were several messages from Serika and Kurisu. I went to answer, but stopped. They were probably still up, but I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I felt like the air I breathed in at the Love Hotel yesterday was still deep inside me. Along with the cheerful melody of the music box and the red that covered my vision. I felt something strange on my cheek and put a hand up to it. It was a bandage. I'd gone to some kind of clinic at the police station where they put it on. They told me I must have hit my face hard on the floor when I passed out. I was unlucky enough to scrape my cheek against a piece of the shattered glass. Thankfully, it wasn't a big wound. It barely hurt at all. But it itched like hell. And each time it itched, the shock I felt came rushing back and quickened my pulse. The danger was long gone, but I still couldn't forget the terror. Had I almost been caught up in something horrible? No. I was fine. I was fine, right? I wasn't like everyone else. I wasn't an amateur. I'd gone through that hell I'd just dreamt about and survived. Okay. Maybe having that nightmare again was good for me. I managed to force down the urge to vomit, then clicked away at the computer. I opened my computer's TV program and changed the channel to a news program, and watched it on my monitor. A few months ago, I bought a USB TV tuner off a homeless guy who had no idea what it was worth. All it cost me was dinner at a local restaurant. This music seems oddly eerie for something I already know about, unless it's going to reveal something else to me. Just like I thought, there was an article about the event 2 days ago. All they said was that a man's body was found in a Donganzaka Love Hotel. They didn't say whether it was a suicide, murder, or just an accident. There was nothing about the girl who'd been found at the scene. Or about me and Serika. I see. I figured this is what I'd get. I never experienced for myself the gap between what happened at a crime scene and what was reported on TV. But it didn't really surprise me. These days, the internet was a lot faster at reporting things than TV. To people who followed the news online, TV wasn't a place to learn new things. It was where you went to see if something you'd heard about was so important that it was getting TV coverage. What about the people online? I closed the TV program and opened a browser. Nico Nia News had something on it too. I clicked on the uploaded video. Another incident has occurred in Shibuya. This makes it... I forgot, this was the... Was this the same guy that I was giving the old-timey voice? I'm gonna do it anyway. Another incident has occurred in Shibuya. This makes for 3 strange incidents so far. Just like always, it was Watabe, the attention-seeking internet reporter. He was famous for charging into crime scenes to get scoops. Lately, he seemed to be getting a little too cocky. He explained what had gone on at the Love Hotel, as the video showed pictures that probably had taken himself. Either way, I think the police are hiding something. The only announcement had been that the body was found, but that's all. If that was all, then why would... And then, like always, he started to mix in his own subjective opinions with the news. He was right. The police were hiding something. There was little point in listening to the rest of this. Vague information would only just get in the way. This is all you can expect from the masses on the internet, I guess. I mostly ignored Watabe's voice as I looked at the video on the screen. He must have gotten it by charging into the hotel room. What the hell was all that? I thought back to what happened. A man was strangled to death in the room. There was an unconscious girl and a police officer there as well. The girl was the most obvious suspect. Even if she chose a strange way to do it, she still must have killed him. Right? No, if she definitely killed him, they would have announced that. She was arrested just like I was. Over 30 hours had passed. Even if they found out she was innocent, they should have announced that. The police believe that the girl with him may know something and are proceeding with their investigation. Something like that. Did the police think that she didn't do it? And what was she doing in that room? And even if the police had told me during the interrogation that I'd imagined it, I knew what I heard. Someone else had visited the room and knocked on the door. The sound was eerie and always had the same rhythm. I felt a cold chill and idly turned toward the door. I hate when it gives me a choice in times like this. So don't... It's like, yeah, I've had my fun, like, staring at, like, whatever the fuck's going on, but I want to be... Sometimes I just feel like being boring and walking down the straight and narrow. And just be like, let's not, like, faff around with all the fucking, like, imaginary bollocks. Saying that, though, I do want to see some murder. My room is the same as always. There was no sign of anyone approaching it. I listened carefully to see if I could hear anything outside. We're fucking doing it. I don't give a shit what y'all say. I like my dumb slasher fix, okay? And this is like prime dumb slasher fix time. Nothing. Come on, you're worrying too much. Huh? I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The doorknob spun on its own. The door opened. I couldn't believe it. I'd forgotten to lock the door. Someone was here. Who? Was it Serica? Or Gen? Or someone who had to do with what happened yesterday? Was it okay for me to just stand here? Who's there? Oh, hello. Whose sassy lost child is Okay, I'm not. I shouldn't be doing the memes right now. A small shadow slipped through the gap in an open door and came inside. Who was this girl? Alright. Weren't you the one who was bleeding out the eyes earlier? And then I realized that I should have looked away. Who are you? Her eyes were blank and out of focus. It was like she was looking at me, but she wasn't. Her skin was so pale, and she looked sick. She was mumbling something. She had something behind her back. It was a knife. Over 20 centimeters. Oh, that's a chunky knife. Don't smile at me. This feels like a really weird, like, out of context screenshot I could take, but you know what? We're fucking here now, aren't we? Shit. She was insane. And then I remembered. I remembered who she was. Yeah, her eyes have changed color. How the fuck did that happen? She was the girl at the crime scene. Why does she look like she's 15? Wait, we're high school students. That doesn't work. What was she doing here?
The witnesses have to die. Have to die.
What? Die! She leapt on me without warning. I felt a terrible pain in my plane. What the shit? I haven't even been drinking tonight. I felt a terrible pain in my solar plexus. I looked down and saw the knife was embedded deep within my chest. Oh, fucking no. Please, don't make me do that. I thought I left that laugh behind in Hinamizawa. She giggled as she pulled the knife out. I'll admit, like, the death gurgles that they have going on in this game are something else. I don't know, well, I kind of do want to know how they did it, if only so I could actually, like, do them myself. Provided, you know, I don't have to, like, choke myself or something stupid to do them. Die! I wasn't prepared for that one. And again, the knife went in. How could somebody die like this? It was insane, I thought. That's stupid. That wasn't going to happen. I see. So I'm guessing the flip side is she comes into the caravan and we bone down for the rest of the night. You know, like people do after they've just witnessed a murder. I don't fucking know. I've never seen a dead person. Yeah, no way. None. I kept telling myself that as I went over and locked the door. It was just like how after you saw a horror movie, you ended up afraid to go to the bathroom at night. One theory said that a scary experience like that throws the brain into overdrive and causes it to emit too much dopamine, which triggers strong delusions. Basically, I was overthinking it. Nothing crazy like that was actually going to happen. Then she fucking jumps through the window with a knife instead, and I'm like, oh shit! It was physically impossible. But not mentally impossible. So I was fine. Just fine. I took a deep breath and managed to calm myself down. Oh, that's right. Crap. It was a new day. What about the pundits on the internet? I quickly opened another site. Shibuya News. This was the private news site I trusted the most. It was always updated at midnight, every day. The quality of the news and the reliability of its updates made it far more useful than TV or the mass market sites. I hate its spelling of news, but sure, we'll roll with it. Online news was faster than TV, but of course, some sites were better than others. What else do they have? They've got Cats. They've got Bar Nobu. I don't know what the middle one is. They've got Ocean. And then they've got Spaghetti. The highest level of news that one could strive for. There was no end to the number of wrong-siders who would treat the net as a single entity that was the opposite of TV. The TV says one thing, but the internet says something different, they'd say. If you ask me, they were utter morons. These days, even a lot larger sites online aim for the mass market like TV news did. It was critical that you find out for yourself which sites could really be trusted. I hate to piss on your bonfire, Takaru, but I'm pretty sure that's called propaganda. Just like the name implies, Shibuya News dealt with the goings-on around Shibuya. It was similar enough to our newspaper club that everyone in the club knew about the site and used it regularly. Its owner, Kei, was... how should I say this? Very skilled at getting and sharing information and seeing its effects. She carefully calculated when to send and when to receive information. A lot of child and grandchild sites use Shibuya News as their parent site. Most of them were privately run news sites as well. As a result, a huge number of people saw the information that Kei spread. To put it more unkindly, Kei was manipulating them. Propaganda! Anytime Kei wrote about a popular shop among high school students in Shibuya, or a free smartphone app, I would hear people at school talking about it within a few days. I wonder if this Kei kid's the one that's going to be doing the investigation. Probably, if I had to guess. Take, for example, the Twitter user that most of Heihiko Academy followed, HekihoBot. It described itself as a bot by Hekiho students for Hekiho students. But the number of times it would show up on Shibuya News, my guess was that it was actually run by Kei. Kei was one of the few people that I recognized as a right-sider. When something important was going on in Shibuya, you first checked the TV shows to get the basics, then the mass market sites to see what the net was saying. Then you would go to Shibuya News for the latest information. This was the way of the newspaper club, and myself specifically would always look for information. I figured they'd be broadcasting. The quality of the news wasn't the only reason that Shibuya News was popular. One reason was that Kei appeared to be a girl. When someone was thought to be a girl in real life, they got a lot more hits than someone who was thought to be a guy. Internet. At its finest. And the other reason was...
and that was A Contract of Blood to Seal Our Sin by Phantasm.
this radio broadcast. Whenever there was something big she wanted to report on, she would always do an internet radio broadcast. It offered proof that she was a girl, her voice calm and pleasant to the ear. A lot of people just listened to her broadcast. The audio from the leaky noise case I played for Kurisu had actually been modified by Kei to be easier to understand.
Okay, normally I don't play Phantasm, but there's a reason I've chosen it today. You're all aware of the death of a man in his 20s in a Shibuya Love Hotel yesterday, right? Like always, Watabe at Nikoniya News was there to tell you all about it, but...
I chuckled a little. His glory hogging was a running joke among Nikoniya News viewers.
But there's something he didn't notice. Phantasm released this song 6 years ago. And you all remember what happened then, of course.
I didn't, because Chaos Head was never released outside of Japan.
That's right, the Shibuya earthquake. But before that, there were also strange events called the New Generation Madness.
I was startled. That's right. Crap. I'd forgotten after all that had happened at the Love Hotel. No way.
Some of you have already noticed, right? The Don't Look at Me case on the 7th of September. And then Leaky Noise on the 19th. And now this new death yesterday. Or more precisely, 2 days ago on the 29th. The dates match up with the incident 6 years ago.
In that second, the Twitter stream that was linked in the broadcast lit up. It was overflowing with comments.
The next date is the October 10th, the date of the vampire case. My beloved citizens of Shibuya, please take care. That's all for tonight. Thank you for listening in. This has been your host, Kay. It will soon be 12:30 a.m. on October 1st. I pray you spend tomorrow in a way you won't regret.
She signed off in her usual way and the broadcast ended. She got me. That's right. The hypothesis was what I forced my way into the Love Hotel. And something had happened just like I thought. After 3 such incidents, it was only natural to assume that there might be a connection. I'm going to assume that I don't know this Kei-chan. I just thought about it and I'm like, wait, I don't know what Kazuki sounds like, but she is good with, like, I'm assuming she's good with computers and shit. She plays a lot of Phantasy Star Online, so who knows? Maybe she's just a neat. Maybe her only way of talking is through this radio show. Like how my only forms of socializing these days are like talking to this microphone. That got dark real quick. Let's move on. The new generation madness. Was it going to happen again? The horrifying thought here is that the new generation madness ended with a Shibuya earthquake. That's the real terrifying concept behind this. I suddenly felt a pain in my cheek. I reached up and saw that blood was coming out from the side of the bandage. The cut must have opened. As I took care of it, the red blood on my fingers stood out. Go get some fucking sun! Without warning, I felt a horrible sense of dread, like I was sinking into quicksand. Usually, I love to have a mystery to solve, but now that this case was definitely real, I hesitated. For the rest of that night, I wasn't able to do any more research about the case. And welcome back to the Shibuya Reddit section! Third man dead in Shibuya. Could mean a serial killer is on the loose. New generation. 3 suspicious deaths in Shibuya this month line up with the dates of the new generation madness. A 4th death is predicted to occur on the 10th of October. New generation madness. Holy shit. Fucking anonymous with the first bollocks. Seriously? Thread archived. Also, they put a link here. I don't think the links will work. My brain was just like, how cool would it be if I just Googled this link and it actually worked? Me, remember to try that in editing. And then a lot of people, it's happening.gif. Okay, summary. I'm just gonna like flick through like the important ones. Summary of Kay's podcast. The dates of the new generation incident 6 years ago match the deaths. So first we had group dive. And then, so we had group dive occur at the same time as Don't Look at Me. Leaky noise occurred at the same time as Pregnant Man, which still is a fucking terrifying concept for a murder. The unnamed Love Hotel incident so far occurred at the same time as the Crucified case. And we are waiting to see what happens with Vampira. Pyra! No. Everyone's talking about festivals. Some people are flirting with Kay. I've read this sentence. No, well, not like personally. I've read this sentence before. Is that? No, that's the wrong one. This one. Whose eyes are those eyes? I feel like it's got to be related somewhere. Also, like, there's no mention of the stickers yet that have been popping up all over the damn place. Oh, I guess we're just gonna have to find out what how they fit into everything. Also, yeah, unfortunately, I did draw this conclusion myself. You know, sometimes I regret what the internet has become. Sometimes I regret reading. I regret becoming literate. What the fuck am I looking at? That doesn't even look like a bear.